Good morning. We're starting Tafsan Zayin. It's talking about chitim which water fell on, and the din by wheat kernels which water fell on them is that if they get swollen, that they're machmitz and they're chometz. This is one of the reasons why shmur matzah is mishas kitzira, so be sure that no water, you don't rely on the chazakos, and no water falls on. We know for sure no water falls on the wheat. But this simon talks about the chazakos. If you don't have that, can you buy wheat to go ahead and make matzahs? And how do you what the chazakos are and things like that. Dagan shenitva benar. If you know you have grains, wheat that fell into the river, shenafal of mayim, or water spilled on it. Kishem she'asur la'achol kach asur l'kaino. Just like it's asur to eat it, it's also asur to keep it over on Bal Yiroeh. Elamoichel Yisrael. Before Pesach, you should sell it to Yisrael. Pesach. Sell it and say, listen, this is probably chometz, so you have to eat it before Pesach, or you could eat it yourself. But if you sell it to a goy before Pesach, then if you sell it to Yisrael, it's fine. You sell it to a goy, you should only sell a little bit. So therefore you should eat it before Pesach. Shema Yachzer in Yehudi and Kernel Yisrael. Or Choshesh that maybe the guy will turn around and sell it to Yisrael, and then they're not going to know that it's chametz, and so we're Choshesh for this chashash. Therefore, only sell a bit at a time.
Is that just 30 days, or that's like all year?
I assume. I don't know if it's. I assume 30 days. So that's the time that people are focusing on. What's it called? I mean, if you know, listen, wheat is going to be chometz even if water fell in by Chanukah. But when you have to be choshesh, I don't know. You probably want to be choshesh, within 30 days. But I don't know. Dagan zeshenitra b'nar or shenafel of mayim. This dagan which fell into the river, got water spilled on it, avavi shalom nizbakea. Even though you go through it and you look, you don't see any of the kernels, like grew and split. Also, they're still also the chivin the menach naichi also they chimutz. Just like we say by dough that if it sits for 18 minutes, even if there's no simin chimutz, we still say it's machmitz. So too over here, since water spilled on it, nothing happened. It sat for a day. You look through it, looks fine. Still, we say that it fermented. And therefore, we have to be very careful that rain does not spill on the wheat. There's no way to check it, unless you know for sure that right away you saw water, whatever, you deal with it. But otherwise there's no way to tell. But if you have a dagan in the attic, and it dripped and it leaked in and it got a bit wet. Also, any of the wheat which got wet, you see, is a wet spot or whatever, it was clumping. That they're also. But the rest of the wheat, you can eat it, or you can't eat it. You can leave it over Pesach if it's fake tzveika. Right? Maybe the rain didn't rain on it. And maybe if it didn't, maybe it fell on it. So we only say it's a chazaka that obviously if the wheat got swollen later. But if it didn't get swollen, we only say it was a chazaka that it happened. So you have a fake tzveika here. It's not borer. Aval the Pesach also, but you can't use this fake tzveika to matter achila. You're going to see later on the poskim point out that the fake tzveika will work for mashu. Here we're talking about not a mashu, we're talking about actual chitim, which is more than a mashu. But the fake tzveika will work you can be mashing it. Chitim shabo b'svina, if you have wheat which came in a boat, on even a barge, whatever, river raft. Im heim yeveshos v'kashos, if you see that they're like old and dried out, and they look dry and fine. Then we don't assume that even though they were in a sfina, right? We don't assume that that they got wet. There's a discussion, but if we know if we know this type of boat is this type of boat where there's always water, some sort of barge or something where there's always water in the bottom, in the bottom of the boat, then that's something different. Because there's more of a vada, there's more of a chazaka that this thing got wet, even if it doesn't look like it. But a stam boat, you don't have to worry about it. Shana shirabu k'shamim, if you have a year which had a lot of rain, the other alareino shebesados, and then it rained on the piles of kernels in the field. Right, sometimes it does rain in ER, sometimes it does, different times, even in the summer it's raining, whatever. So if you see that some of the wheat on top are starting to sprout, you're not choshesh for stam chitim, rest of the chitim, we're not choshesh, even though we saw it did rain and we see that this pile started to grow, we're not choshesh. And agav, people should realize that sprouted wheat, if you make wheatgrass, anything like that is mamish, according to the mamish chometz. So a person shouldn't think it was, I guess if it's sprouted completely and the thing's completely gone, I don't know, the kernel's gone, but stam sprouted wheat is definitely vadai chometz. Dagon shebechuber v'tini shabish lagamrei. Dagon, which is still in the ground and that dried out, but ain't tzarich yanika, but it's it's ready to be cut. Then we consider as if it's already cut umakabel chimutz. Right? There's a data that called the balzer of gotzadami. If it has no yanika, it applies by different dinim, whether it's considered mechuber l'karka or not, for different dinim throughout the Shas, throughout the Shulchan Aruch. Here we're machmir that it's considered as if it's not attached, and therefore it can get chimutz and yadolog shamim. So therefore, if you're trying to be shomer the wheat, then you have to be sure that when it's ready to be cut, it's cut right away. Any wheat which are, you see, you're taking out wheat and you see that some are split. Also, we don't say, we don't say that it transfers tam or anything like that. Only the ones which are split are problematic. And it's normal because the water goes on the outside layer, or the ground is wet and the whole outside layer of the pile. The water never gets into because it all gets absorbed on the outer layer, it doesn't get into the middle, so therefore you only have to take off the outer layer, the chitim which are split. Yisrael, sheyesh lo boros meleim chitim, a Yisrael that has pits or ditches or whatever, they used to store stuff in the ground, which is full of chitim. And if you think that maybe you're choshish, that it's been there's a wet ground, whatever, that there's wheat on the side of the hole which might have fermented, that you don't have to go ahead and throw everything out. You want to keep it over Pesach. Right, you're not planning to go ahead and use it. The Shaila Bal Yirah, so that's since only a chash, so then you could just say Bal Yirah, and so you could just say Bittul Kolchamir or whatever, and you don't have to be worried.
And if you know for sure in the walls
that's something else. Here we're not talking. If you know for sure, then that's vadai.
Then you have to empty it.
I am not. I'm not sure. It depends on the, if you're hearing only a chash, but if you know for sure there's some Could be bittul still would help, because if you know for sure you have to take it out of your rishos anyway, do rabbanon. So could be. I don't know. Yeah, dvash sha'eni Yehudi, honey. You buy what was it in America? Subi honey, I don't know, whatever. So you buy that in America. Ein machzikim bo iser oichels of a Pesach. There's nothing to worry about, and you can eat it on Pesach. What's the issue? The issue was it used to be that they used to put flour in the honey to thicken it. So there's a problem. But the Mechaber says that you don't have to be choshesh. You can just eat it. Hagar miyu yesh machmirin.
If they did put flour, it wouldn't be mischametz and honey.
So that's a discussion.
I'm not so sure it's on.
We learned that.
No, I mean, yes, it's one of the Shiva Mashkos. The Shiloh.
It's not.
No, it's one of the Shiva Mashkos. The Shiva Mashkos it might be machmitz. It's not. No, it's not. But maybe there's water in it also, and
Also water.
yeah, that's what the Shabbat says. There is a discussion in the Achronim, and we do know that there's a halacha that dvash. Let's say why is it mutter to eat? If there's beef hearts in the drash, why is it mutter? Because the Taz talks about in Yeridea that they dissolve, that everything turns into drash. So they have the discussion over here also, like why don't we say that? And it could be just it's chumrah the Pesach and things like that we don't that we be machmir, because ish machmirim, because this is something that they did. Now obviously. So it says, however, a minig b'nedin seilu shlolechol dvash, but also shemivim b'chavios b'nei kiveres, so also b'nei mashka shekarim mid. The minig was only not to eat stuff which they took from the kiver, which they're making for mead, because then they would put additives in. But pure honey, if you know, and generally, like if you're sure there's pure honey, or there's a government, the government says you can't put 100% pure honey unless it's pure honey. You can't mix anything in. So then that's fine. But, obviously, it's better to have a hechsher on any of these things. It's einin yeveshim v'anavim yeveshim shikorin rosini, right? Raisins, gdolim uktani, and tali v'minig amakoimos. You have to know what the Metzias is. Ki yesh b'chirim shelo ochla and yesh b'kilim. Some will eat dried fruit, some don't, because sometimes they sprinkle flour on the fruit when they help dry it out. Huadin, if you buy, you have to be careful here in Eretz Yisrael, and you buy roasted nuts, that you see the white powder on it. It's either she's needs a hechsher, because it's either potato starch, or it's sweet. I've been in a store, like, do you use potato starch? She said, no, we use real wheat, whatever. So they put flour on so the salt sticks. So you also, so all these things need hechsherim. The meaning is not to eat any dried fruit. Again, this is the makor. This is where you say we don't eat anything on Pesach unless it's a hechsher. Person shouldn't rely on anything which is somewhat processed or whatever. You don't know what goes on. You always have to have a hechsher. Fresh fruit is something else, but everything needs to have a hechsher for chametz if it's processed. With sukkar, also the achlo, sugar is also rafilu lahashaisai also, because they used to put in, to make it powder or whatever, they used to put in flour, choshesh, they used to put flour in. However, on last day, 8th day Yom Tov, we do eat peres yeveshim with sukkar kandil she'ein bo chash chimutz. If it's only a chash, we don't know. So the minig was to go ahead and to eat it on the last day, and since it's only d'Rabbanan, we're not machmir for a chash, and this is the makor also for the why in Chutz La'aretz they eat gebrachs on the last day also, because it's only a chash, and since their whole point is that they're choshesh for flour in the matzah or whatever, same idea, and then we're choshesh for flour, and there isn't. And then so on the last day, it's only mamish d'Rabbanan, so therefore you don't have to choshesh for it. Also, they don't eat saffron or negalach or cloves. Miu einan oisim taruvasa. It's only chashas and asur tarovis. Again, like I said, any product which is somewhat processed or is a chash that they mix stuff in, you have to know, and you shouldn't buy anything out of hechsher. For example, there is a minhag I think there is a minhag in Bells, that they don't eat carrots on Pesach. Because it used to be in Bells around those cities, whatever, the goyim used to store carrots and beer. You soaked them in beer, and that's where how they store, and then they sold them. So therefore, they said, okay, no one's eating any carrots, and they kept the minhag up after. Right. So that's
the exact same.
And they make their own sugar water, and they
Can't be peeled, forget it. Peppers, it's the same exact concept because it was stored by the flour.
Right, and that's why people buy almonds, which are in the shells. There's a lot of chumras people take on, for each person and the fee is minhagim. Tavshil shenizbashil nimtzabel sa'orim uchitim, a tavshil which was you cooked it and you find wheat in it, or a sa'ori, you find barley or wheat. In this baku mamish, if they mamish split, harei kol tavshil aser, then that it becomes a chametz. The whole thing is aser, right? You go ahead and you make a cholent or you make whatever, and for some reason you find a barley in there. Now the truth is, pur barley is it's chametz because it's already soaked. You have to get the shell off, so it's already nizbaka. It's already considered chametz gomor. And that has to be sold.
The whole barley has a little bit of a different thing because
right. Whole barley is different, so that you wouldn't you need a hechsher, but you shouldn't not chametz. But if you find it in your cholent, you find a wheat berry in your cholent, you have a problem. You learn this baku mamish, but if you see they didn't split tavshil mutter, then we don't answer the tavshil. Gava ain't a minikain. However, in the Ashkenazim, the Rama says that that's not the minik. We assume that a mashu went through everything. A feel in his baku, even if it didn't split, like we had before by the sack which got wet. That we're choshish for if it was cooked and if it was whatever, we're choshish for it. Well, it wasn't machmir. No, if you boil, I don't know, because it's a chalita, right? If you put flour in boiling water, it's not machmitz. Something you just boiling hot, it doesn't necessarily machmitz. The chimitz doesn't come from cooking, it comes from sitting. So if you see that, if you see that it didn't split, so it's not machmitz, so it's not it's not. On Pesach, yeah. The oisam chitim osa'orim sarfim osam, but the Mechaber says that those chitim osa'orim it's not enough to be nosin tam, b'mashu, but you have to go ahead and burn them because we're choshish for chametz of those things. Tanagos mevushalois shenintzva pesach chita mevukas. You take you roast chicken and you find a chita inside which is split, which is swollen. The mutar l'machra le'ena Yehudi, you're allowed to sell it to a goy. She'ena nimkeres yoyse b'yoyker b'shvil achita shenimtzeis b'soicha. Because you're not getting hanav from the chita. The goy is not going to say, oh, there's wheat in it. Oh my gosh, I'm going to give you more money. Wow, this is special. They don't care. So therefore, you're selling a chicken. So you're allowed to. So this would be you'd be allowed to sell it on Pesach. Medina Seilu Nogin Lisra Fakol. Ramal says, and in the Ashkenaz is just to go ahead and throw the whole chicken in the fire. Yeah, mashu. Yeah, the mashu. Yeah. You were choshish the mashu with the meaning.
That's why a lot of Hungarians have falsa fish. They don't eat real fish because they were fed with like wheat berries and so on and so forth in the pond. And you can find it on so they
right.
Lots of fish.
So this bakachita that was found in the kishkas of the chicken, or was
even if it's the cavity, yeah. Even if it's I don't know, you open it up, you see it. If it's the kishkas. I don't think they used to bake with the kishkas. Yeah, they take them out.
Maybe you found it in the throat, the gargle.
Yeah, the pupik. Yeah, the pupik. You can find it in the pupik. Now you find one, especially here, they don't clean them. So you can find them in the.
The olden days was very, very different. You didn't have a butchery for most of these things. My alta brother went, she shafted her own chickens.
Right.
You took the chicken from the backyard, you took them out, and that was it. So,
yeah.
Maybe someone didn't do a good enough job.
Right. Right. If you find it on the 8th day, mutar lahash oisa arach Pesach. You're allowed to go ahead and keep it after Pesach, because obviously the 8th day we're not so choshish. I think we will stop here.